Stop for a second. Put your phone down. Just give me 30 seconds of your life. Do you actually know who is looking back at you in the mirror? Not the person who shows up for work, not the version your friends see on Instagram. I am talking about the real you, the one who stays awake at 3 in the morning when everything is quiet. Most of us think we understand ourselves. We think we know our fears and our dreams, but the truth is quite uncomfortable. Your own mind is often the one lying to you. It builds stories to keep you safe. It creates illusions to help you hide. But those illusions are exactly why you keep making the same mistakes. They are why the same painful patterns keep repeating in your life. Welcome to Elite Summaries. I am so glad you are here today. If you find this helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel. We explore the depths of human psychology to help you grow. Today, we are stripping away the masks. We are looking at the things most people are too afraid to talk about. Think about the character you play every single morning. Maybe you are the strong one. You handle everything for everyone else. Maybe you are the funny one. You use jokes to keep people from getting too close. There was a man named Marcus who lived in Denver. Everyone thought he was the happiest guy in the room. He was always laughing. But when he went home, he was completely alone. He had forgotten who he was underneath the performance. He had spent so much energy pretending that he lost touch with his own heart. Does that sound like you? Have you ever worn a mask for so long that you forgot it was a costume? The biggest secret we keep is the face we never show anyone. We are terrified that if people saw the messy parts, they would leave. Society calls the mask strength, but underneath that mask is often a deep fear of not being enough. We start reading people by their words, but words are just rehearsed lines. You have to look at the behavior. The person who says they don't need anyone is usually starving for love. The person who is always smiling is often fighting the hardest war inside. Imagine you are in a prison with no walls. There are no guards and no locks, yet you cannot move. This is the prison of your own mind. We tell ourselves stories every day. There was a woman named Claire who grew up being compared to everyone else. Those small comments became a voice in her head. Every time she had a chance to succeed, that voice whispered that she wasn't good enough. She wasn't being held back by the world. She was being held back by her own thinking. Your brain doesn't care if a thought is true. It only cares if you say it often enough. If you tell yourself you are a failure, your mind will find ways to prove it. The biggest war of your life is happening inside your own head. One voice tells you to take a chance. The other voice tells you that people will laugh. Most of us call our fear being realistic. We call our procrastination waiting for the right time. We decorate the walls of our mental prison so beautifully that we forget they are walls. Real freedom starts when you stop believing every thought you have. Not every doubt is a fact. Think about the last time a small comment ruined your entire day. Why did it hurt so much? The thing that bothers you the most usually points to your biggest truth. Most people blame the person who was rude, but the real source of the pain is inside you. A man named Derek would lose his mind whenever someone questioned his work. He wasn't really angry at his coworkers. He was angry at his own insecurity. Deep down, he wasn't sure he was capable either. When someone poked that spot, it triggered a massive reaction. If someone calls you something and you feel nothing, that word has no power over you. But if your chest gets tight, they just touched a wound you have been carrying. There are two kinds of people. One kind blames the world for the sting. The other kind pauses and asks why it bothered them so much. Every trigger is a message from your subconscious. It is trying to show you something you refuse to see. Sophie spent hours scrolling through social media. She felt drained every time she saw someone else's success. She told herself that those people were just showing off. But one night, she realized the truth. It wasn't about them. It was about her own unfulfilled dreams. Her frustration was a signal that she was ignoring her own potential. Your pain isn't your enemy. It is a messenger. It is knocking on your door, trying to lead you to the truth. We are taught that the person who speaks the loudest wins. But have you noticed that the loudest people are often the most anxious? They use words like a shield because they are afraid of losing control. Real power often lives in silence. Think about James. He was quiet in every meeting. People thought he was timid. But when he did speak, his words carried massive weight. His silence was strategic. It came from a place of clarity, not fear. Real power is realizing that not every accusation needs a defense. You don't have to attend every argument you are invited to. Silence leaves the other person alone with their own words. It strips away the noise and reveals what is actually happening. A weak person reacts to everything. A strong person knows that their peace is their greatest weapon. Some people walk into a room and take up all the space. They tell the biggest stories and brag about their wins. We often mistake this for confidence, but usually the brightest light is just trying to hide the deepest darkness. Ethan needed to be the smartest person in every room. He spent his nights comparing his life to everyone else on LinkedIn. His confidence was just a costume for his insecurity. He needed constant praise because his self-worth was in other people's pockets. When you need applause to feel alive, you are not living your own life. You are becoming who other people want to see. You edit your personality like a photo. But validation is like drinking salt water. The more you get, the thirstier you feel. Worth is not something you earn from the world. It is something you recognize within yourself. The strongest people are the ones who don't need to announce their value. If the world stopped noticing you for one day, would you still feel like you matter? Most people are addicted to attention. Tyler checked his phone hundreds of times a day. His mood depended on likes and comments. He had lost his identity to the eyes of strangers. When you focus only on reactions, you stop hearing your own voice. Rachel was the person who did everything for everyone. She was so flexible that she disappeared. She had no idea what she actually wanted anymore. The more you chase approval, the weaker you feel. You are telling your brain that you are not enough on your own. The strongest person feels just as valuable in an empty room as they do on a stage. When you build a home inside yourself, you stop being a prisoner of other people's opinions. Have you noticed that the people who judge the most are often the unhappiest? Greg was brutally honest about everyone else's flaws. He pointed out every mistake loudly, but the truth was that Greg was running from his own failures. Judging others is a distraction. It keeps the spotlight away from the mess in your own life. The person who is hard on others is usually twice as hard on themselves. They can't be gentle with you because they don't know how to be gentle with themselves. Next time you feel a quick judgment forming, just pause. Ask yourself if you are seeing them or if you are seeing your own unresolved story. Most of the time, the judgment says more about the judge than the judged. This realization will save you years of bitterness. Let's talk about envy. It is that hot, ugly feeling when someone else gets what you wanted. Very few people admit they feel it, but it is a universal human experience. Ryan watched his friend Adam succeed in New York. He smiled and sent congratulations, but inside he was burning. He told himself Adam was just lucky, but the real problem was that Ryan was standing still. He was watching someone else live the life he was too afraid to chase. Envy is a compass. It shows you what your heart actually wants. If you run from it, it will poison you. But if you listen to it, it will tell you which direction to walk. Don't hate people for their success. Study it. The thing that burns the most is often the thing you need the most. Words can be rehearsed, but patterns never lie. Daniel was charming and talked about loyalty all the time. But whenever a friend really needed him, he disappeared. His words were beautiful, but his behavior was the truth. Smart people don't just listen. They watch what someone does over and over again. Behavior is the most honest autobiography a person will ever write. If someone says they care, but they are never there, believe their actions. Ego is not strength. It is armor built from fear. Marcus II had to win every argument. If someone disagreed, he took it as a personal attack. He was terrified of being seen as ordinary. Success convinced Robert that he could never be wrong. He stopped learning and stopped listening. Within years, he became obsolete. Self-respect is quiet. It doesn't need to win every battle. It knows its own worth without broadcasting it. Some people can hurt you without ever raising their voice. This is emotional control. Victor would flip every argument until the other person felt guilty. He made people doubt their own reality. This is how doubt takes root. Lily's partner would be devoted one day and cold the next. This unpredictability kept her hooked. She mistook the roller coaster for love. But it was actually a calculation. Real relationships make you stronger. They don't shrink you so someone else can feel big. When you start to succeed, some people will pull away. This is confusing. You think success will bring people closer, but your growth disrupts the old balance. Caleb's friends started picking apart his decisions when his business grew. It wasn't just envy. It was because his growth reminded them of their own stillness. Not everyone can handle your evolution. Some people preferred the old version of you because it made them feel comfortable. Don't dim your light to make others feel safe. Move forward even when the applause thins out. Human nature has a flaw. We undervalue what we have and crave what we are losing. Owen's kindness was taken for granted until he started setting boundaries. Suddenly, everyone wanted his time. People don't notice the air until it is gone. If you never assign yourself importance, the world won't do it for you. Protect your peace. There comes a moment where you have to choose between the crowd and the truth. The crowd gives you safety, but it takes your thinking. History's worst decisions were made by large groups. Maya spoke up about a broken system at her work. At first, people turned on her, but her courage led to real change. Standing alone is painful. You will doubt yourself, but that is where character is built. Not everyone is going to understand you. Some people see you only through the filter of their own pain. Nathan was called arrogant simply because he didn't play office politics. They created a fictional character and called it his name. Catherine's family called her selfish the one time she put herself first. They didn't see her. They only saw the role they wanted her to play. Don't waste your energy proving you are not who they think you are. Your job is to build your character, not to manage their perception. The hardest fight you will ever face is inside your own chest. Sean blamed the world for his unhappiness, but things only changed when he pointed the spotlight at himself. Self-awareness demands responsibility. That is why most people avoid it. It is easier to have an excuse than to face the mirror. Change is never comfortable. It is a stubborn, inch-by-inch process. The greatest illusion is the one we have about ourselves. We think we are always the hero. George realized that his failure wasn't the world's fault, it was his own hesitation. Until you know yourself, no amount of success will make you feel complete. Self-knowledge is a lifelong process. It means being radically, uncomfortably honest. Who are you when the performance ends? When you stop needing to impress the world, a different life begins. You stop needing to win every battle. You find peace. If you made it this far, maybe this was more than a script. Maybe it was a mirror. Don't let the noise of tomorrow bury what you felt today. Start being a little more honest with yourself. Stop running. Look in the mirror and meet the person who has been waiting for you. That is where you find your truest identity.